This is Pow Wow Life, Episode 9,
We just want to take some time here to acknowledge
for
our
August 3rd,
happy
2016.
This is Pow Wow
Life, Episode 9. Thanks, everybody. Glad you could be here with us tonight. Let's see how we're doing here. We've already got some people here live. Appreciate you tuning in. Please be sure to post your comments and your questions on the Facebook there. Let's see here. All right, and I even see we've got our friend Adam Sings in the Timbers joined us, so appreciate him tuning in. Everybody just be sure to post your comments there, and we'll be able to ask questions and talk to you throughout the show. Again, this is Pow Wow Life Episode 9. I'm Paul Gowder, your host from PowWows.com, and appreciate everybody being here tonight. We've got a very special guest, but first I want to show everybody this. We've got a really cool new Pow Wow Life Lanyard, so if you need one for the next powwow, we're going to give 2 of those away. If you go to www.PowWows.com/PowWowLife9, there's an entry form there. Fill it out and post in the comments who your favorite superhero is. And then we'll draw one. We will do the drawing by August 10th, and we'll send 2 of those out to some folks. Also, if you enjoy the show and want to see more things like this, please consider supporting the show. You can go to www.PowWowNation.com and help support what we're doing here. Again, thanks everybody for being on. We've already got several people looking. Chris and Vanessa, thanks guys for being with us. Tonight we've got a great guest. I'm excited because for Father's Day this year, my family asked me what I wanted to do, and we were kind of figuring out if we could do a day trip, and we found that just a couple of hours away was a Comic Con, and we went up there for the day. It was in Charlotte, North Carolina. It was called Heroes Con, and we had a blast. We were able to get our geek on and see, Star Wars stuff and Harry Potter, and they even had a real mystery machine there from Scooby and a cool costume contest. So when I saw this event was coming up in November, I knew I had to talk to the folks putting it on, and so I want to welcome our guest this evening, Lee Francis, with the Indigenous Comic Con. Let's see. Lee, thanks so much for being here. Let's see if... Yeah. Tell everybody at home here, the Indigenous Comic Con is coming up. It's going to be in Albuquerque, New Mexico, if I'm right, in November. Do I have that right? All right. Yeah, it's going to be great. That's really cool. So anyways, let's back up first. If you would, just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Lee, let me stop you just for a second, and apparently I did not get the audio right. Give me just a second. People online are telling me they can't hear you, so let me try this again. I can hear you, and it was a great intro. Let's see if we got this right this time. All right, let's see. Say hello to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
Okay.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, I think you can. I can. Sorry, guys. All right. Lee Francis with Indigenous Comic Con. Okay, let's start over. You're telling a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So my family is from the Pueblo of Laguna. My name is Lee Francis. This is my son. He's right here with me as well tonight. So my business partner is joining me. I think your mom's coming home, so you should go check. Been living here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Been throughout my career, done work with young people, and have always been sort of what we'll say an indigene nerd, somebody that really digs pop culture and comic books. And about a year and a half ago, we started a Comic Con, or we started a publishing house called Native Realities Publishing, and we publish comic books and graphic novels that are all Native and Indigenous centric. We worked with Native artists primarily. They have to be the lead on the team, and they have to feature stories about Native folks, because it's something when I was a teacher that was really missing when I was teaching, was stuff in that sort of pop culture realm to be able to give to my students. And knowing a lot of teachers still, that's still kind of what we're doing. So that's my background. We've been doing that for about a year and a half, and we've had some great titles. And some really great artists that we work with. We came out of the Indigenous Narratives Collective. It was founded by Miss Aragon Starr, Theo Tso, and a number of other folks out of the Phoenix Comic Con. So, yeah, it was a really good time.
Cool. And I guess that's one of the first things we should say when we talk about a Comic Con. And I kind of knew this, but I didn't really fully see it until I went to Heroes Con. It's not just comic books. It's all kinds of pop culture at these conventions. So you were saying, you're a fan of everything, and that these conventions are pretty wide. Yeah, and I think that's kind of what we were anticipating with ours, is really wanting to cover the whole pop culture spectrum, because there's a lot of Indigenous folks that are doing working in multiple areas. And that's really what we wanted to focus on. So it's not just comic books. We got a lot of comic book artists. We got a lot of folks that are doing film and television. We got a lot of folks that are doing games and tabletop games and video games. We got a lot of folks that are in sci-fi fantasy. And what I was noticing through the work that I was doing with the comic books was really wanting to bring everybody together into one place. And I thought that a con would really be the best place to do that. So cool. All right. So tell us about this is going to be in November in Albuquerque.
No more, please. One moment, please.
That's okay. We understand.
We got our partners. No more crackers. No more crackers. Okay. So go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
No, it's okay. And we'll take a couple of comments here. We've got Teresa, who's watching from Oklahoma, and she's excited to hear more about it. And we got Mary Esther online. So we've got a few people here on Facebook commenting. All right, so it's going to be in Albuquerque. Tell us, what do we need to know? How do we get there? How do we register?
Thanks, bud. Let's go back. So the best place to go is to the IndigenousComicCon.com, IndigenousComicCon.com, and you can find out all the information. But really, it's we start on the 18th, which is a Friday. For the folks that really want to get here early on the 17th. We're going to be up at the Institute for American Indian Arts, Museum of Contemporary Native Arts. They're actually going to be hosting a pre-conference with us. They've given us the space, and we're going to be able to do a lot of professional development, working with folks. Working with folks on really developing skills, but learning a lot around this other particular areas. So of comic book development. So give me 1 second. This is a little bit difficult. Hey, buddy, I really need you to get down so that I can do this interview. I know. Here, you can get on Dada's phone. That'll do it. Hi, everybody. Hi, live internet connection.
Hey, and Nicole out there, I think she's wanting some crackers too. She wants you to share.
All right, we'll answer more questions here in a second. Go on. There we go. All right, we'll try that one more time. Please move so I can sit down. There you go, bud. Thank you. All right, back to it now. That'll keep them occupied.
That's good.
So 18th through the 20th, we start on the evening, which is a Friday evening. We've also got a game developers conference that's going to be leading in that Friday morning. So tribal representatives that want to come and hear from industry experts about what we're doing is language and cultural sustainability. So we really want to be able to highlight and showcase how games can do that. We got some really great talented folks. We're going to be doing a game jam specifically focused on that. So we're hoping to grab a lot of people in. And then we open the con that evening at 4 p.m. And at 7 p.m. that night, we have the 1491s playing. So they will be there
awesome.
for the weekend. They're going to be our lead-off act. We'll have a lot of vendors. We've got probably 70 vendors on deck right now. That are going to be selling all sorts of indigenous pop culture ephemera. And then Saturday and Sunday, we're just going to really have a great time. We've got guest speakers coming in. We've got panels that are going to be going on. We've got kids section to bring the family to. It's just going to be a really amazing event.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I'm hoping we can bring the family out myself. All right, so if we're going to talk Comic Con, everybody out there in the comments, let me know who your favorite superhero is. But we got to know, what's your background here? Are you, where are you in the superhero world? DC, Marvel, or Red Wolf? Who's your favorites that you read?
Gosh, right now my favorite, I think currently, Red Wolf. Red Wolf was great to follow, although it's now canceled, unfortunately. But the work that Jeff Reggie is doing on it was amazing. It's really great to kind of see how that plays out. For the story, it's been really great. Yep, somebody's here. So it's your mama. Go on. So let's see. I think right now one of my favorite titles that's being written that's not native is Saga, which doesn't feature a lot of indigenous folks, but that's the favorite one that I've been picking up. I really like Jeff Lemire's run on the DC on Justice League United with the Equinox character that he brought in. So I really like that. Again, that one's kind of closed down. So right now we're just in this space of sort of waiting for a new awesome indigenous character. That's kind of where I'm at. So
yeah. Cool. All right, so I know you've got lots of guests coming and special guest speakers. You said the 1491s will be there. Who else are we looking for? Who else could we expect to see when we're out there?
We've got, let's see, so Jonathan Joss, so John Red Cloud from King of the Hill, and Chief Ken Hotate from Parks and Rec. He'll be here as well. Let's see, we've got Jeff Reggie. We've got, who else? Christina Badhand, Aragon Starr. Trying to think of some of the others just off the top of my head. We got everybody listed online. Marty Tubles, the great political cartoonist from Indie Country Media Today, going to be in the house. Let's see, who else? I'm trying to think. We've got a couple of other folks lined up, and off the top of my head, some folks elude me. But Stephen Graham Jones is going to be here. Grace Dillon, Elizabeth LaPonce does a lot of game design work. Alan Turner is going to be in the house doing game design work. So those are the folks that I can think of right now. It's going to be a heck of an event.
Cool. And we're getting some questions online. Teresa, she's saying it's the first time she's ever heard of anything like this. For people who aren't familiar with Comic Cons, what could they expect as a first timer going to something like this, and one that's specifically targeted to Indigenous folks?
Oh yeah. So if you've never been to a Comic-Con, it's just a festival of nerdiosity. It's so wonderful. It's a great way to be able to meet folks that you may have seen in film and television, to interact with artists, great vendors that are selling stuff from Star Wars to Star Trek to Doctor Who to books and comic books. It's a wonderful festival. And really kind of this focus on this niche world, this nerd world that a lot of us may like, but we don't find home on the res. It's something that necessarily have a space or location to do, to sort of show where we are. There's going to be people dressed up. There's going to be movies. We're showing some movies and whatnot. So it's just really a whole weekend festival where we get to and talking a lot. Really, the big focus is on representation. So for us, that's a big thing, is how Native people are represented in pop culture, and we're going to hear a lot of talk about that, from games to movies to comic books, etc. And really getting the chance to see positive representations. So that's kind of I'm splicing, what a Comic-Con is, and then what our Comic-Con is going to be. But it's just going to be it's going to be a fun 2.5-day festival celebrating Native identity in a way that promotes a future vision rather than a past vision, because too often I find that we are really historicized. And that's really also one of the reasons why we started the con, was to show that we exist in a modern context, that we get to be space travelers or superheroes or video game characters, avatars, etc. So that's really what we wanted to try and put forward.
Yeah, not stuck in the chapter 3 of the American history book.
Exactly.
Yeah, which you get so often. All right, that's cool. Any cosplay going on? Are we going to have a costume contest?
Yeah, we're going to be. Yep. We got a couple of folks. So we've been working with a tribe called Geek.
Yes.
You can find them online as well. And they highlight a cosplayer every couple of months or so. We've reached out to some of those cosplayers. So we're actually going to have a cosplay section. Anybody that wants to kind of reach out to us, if you're doing professional style or semi-professional cosplay, you're really digging into it, and you can kind of showcase. We actually have a table for you where people get to take pictures with you. You can roam around the con. You can also bring headshots and stuff like that, because one of the things we also want to do is provide a place for our people to jump into the market, where a lot of other non-native folks. I mean, there's a huge. They just had a thing online. I can't remember which site it was, but top level cosplayers are making about $2,000 a year for doing showing up to events and whatnot. So, and there's not a lot of native folks that are involved in that. So we want to provide a place to professionalize, to come and and really be. So we've got that too, so people can reach out to us if you got some cosplayer folks out there, and you got your act down, and you want to go from semi-pro to pro, give us a call, because we got a space for you.
That's really cool. Really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what people come up with out there. Cool. All right. Let's see. We got some other questions here. We got some Star Wars fans.
Excellent.
Yep. So, Star Wars, Star Trek.
Me personally?
Yeah.
Tough call right now. I think I tend to vary, although I'll say I lean a little bit. In my younger days, I was a more Star Trek. I was more Trekkie. These days, I'm a little more Star Wars. So
that's the correct
way
answer.
I'll have to put it. I'll stay on the fence for that. Although I'm very excited about seeing the Star Trek movie and the new Star Wars. Everything's coming out all at the same time.
I know, it's been crazy. And with Disney buying Marvel, it seems like they're just going to keep this going for a long time. Lucas and Marvel, it's gonna be nuts. So you're talking about the natives being portrayed in pop culture. You don't see it a whole lot. It's we get movies like Lone Ranger, with Johnny Depp playing a native role. One of the most recent ones that I've kind of seen in the the geek world, the new Harry Potter play coming out,
yes.
Or the movie. Any thoughts on that, with the Hogwarts or the new school being here in America and based on Native American lore?
Yeah, we have talked about it. And I think what still kind of holds the disappointment, I guess. I think my biggest issue really is sort of the Wikipedia approach that J.K. Rowling took towards building the schools, using names that were just like picked and chosen from a lot of our traditional stories. I thought it was actually quite interesting, and I've seen this reflected online. I was like, well, yeah, I guess it works, because they're just reenacting, colonialism anyway. So all of our names and not give us the credit. So that it's very, very interesting colonial pattern. So I'm still a Harry Potter fan. I'm looking forward to reading the books to my kid. I don't know who you just saw. I don't know how much of the new worlds and all the back history I'm entirely going to throw at him. If I do, it will definitely be within an educational context, I suppose, which is difficult, which I think is kind of sad and difficult. I don't feel that some of our best nerd type stuff or pop culture type stuff or reading really should have to come with disclaimers. But unfortunately, I think that will. The first Harry Potter doesn't. In some ways, I know there's kind of looking back on it, certain portrayals you can see. Oh, well, that was I remember somebody pointing out, it's like, no, and all the French girls look like this. And it's like, yeah. So there was some general brushing.
Eastern European guys were all the same. Yes,
and they were all the same. And I think that I think there's literary license, and that's fine. I think the biggest pushback is the fact that we're always historicized. 90% of the time we're historicized. And so having it just reinforced in this, from a book that commands so much of pop culture's attention, is problematic. And and I think that's mainly where I am. I mean, again, I'm not going to stop being a Harry Potter fan. I think we've been coining a term, and we've been trying to work some intellectual scholarship on this, called critical nerd theory, which is this idea of being able to love something, but being put in the position of trying to figure out how it relates to our identity when we're not represented in the ways that we feel and should be, the ways that we should be represented, or the ways that we feel are appropriate.
Yeah.
And so it's conflict, and how do we make sense out of that conflict? And I think that's where a lot of us are stuck at.
Right, and I think you're right. It's disappointment. I was really excited when I first heard it. The possibilities were going to be really cool of what could have happened, but I don't think she did her full research that she did on some of her other things.
Right.
It seems like some of the new things. My daughter and I are reading the new book, The Cursed Child, right now, actually, and it seems like some of her new things may be pushed a little faster and not fully developed, but. I was hoping too, like you said, it would spark a conversation and bring things to light. But now, with, like you said, a disclaimer, it's not going to be quite what we were hoping. All right, well, getting back to your convention. So, are we going to have is it going to be just Indigenous stuff, or are we going to see the Star Wars and Star Trek vendors out there? Are we going to be able to go and buy the Millennium Falcon, or?
Well, I'm hoping so. We got the Lego folks are going to be here. The local Lego folks are going to be showcasing their stuff. We got so we have some local vendors, as long as it fits sort of within the nerd realm. We have some folks that are doing. Somebody got an application in yesterday or today where they do Southwestern designs on some of the Star Wars and Star Trek type stuff. We got folks that are doing beadwork, and that it's like nerd culture beadwork. So what we were hoping to do is sort of see the hybrid of this type of stuff, so that Indigenous people putting forward their loves that they won't necessarily normally sell at, say, Indian market, or they're not going to sell, they're not going to be selling their Iron Man pen, their Iron Man beaded medallion to anybody outside of this type of a crowd who's coming for something like that. So that's kind of what we've been really hoping for with the vendors, is to sort of nerd that. We are trying to be a little bit not exclusive, but we're trying to, the application process, to make sure that it fits. We want to make, we're not looking for a lot of, you can sell your turquoise and stuff other places. And we don't want to exclude anybody that's doing that. But because this is so specific, and because we are a targeted audience, we want to make sure that at least for this first one, we're really seeing more of the sort of the pop culture bent towards stuff. Nobody's really thrown in being like, I make butterflies, and so like, even then I'd probably be like, cool, But so that's what folks can expect. I think it's going to be. I think we've got a really good broad array of vendors that are coming in.
Yeah, I've seen some of the things you're talking about. In fact, I'm showing your website here, Native Realities, with the Star Wars drawing near Shiprock. Yeah. Several people have taken to doing some prints like this, putting the native flair on some of the old classic Star Wars looks. Really cool stuff. And actually, I don't know if you on eBay, I've actually seen somebody doing beaded figures of Star Wars figures. Ooh. Those are really cool. Yeah.
I've not seen that. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're actually going to put some out on PowWows.com tomorrow, some pictures.
Fantastic.
They did Jar Jar and Chewbacca. R2, C3PO. Anyways.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's really, really cool. So yeah, I'm kind of hoping the more you talk about it, the more I want to come.
Well, that's hopefully the point. We're trying to get everybody excited about it.
And you're getting a lot of comments here too. People are really excited to see something like this coming. So I'm hoping we're getting the word out and people can come.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm looking here at some of the questions that are coming in. All right. Yeah. Thanks, everybody. Everybody seems to be enjoying it. Cool. So anything else people should know? Do we have to register to attend? Is there a deadline or anything?
You can hit us up online. Obviously, the earlier the better. It helps us, get a good sense of how many people are coming in. So we always encourage folks, especially if you're in the area, we do have a return policy. So if you obviously can't make it, we can kind of do that, although we hope you'll stay. But if you can, get your tickets early. We do have some specials coming up. Our early nerd special just closed out on the 31st. But there'll be some, we'll obviously be throwing out some offers and some fun stuff. You can sign up online. But if you just go to our website, indigenouscomiccon.com, you can sign up online for any of the announcements. We have guest announcements. Sometimes we've given out we have links for wallpaper. We've had a free download for one of our comic books. There's like stuff that we want to try and make this, we really want to engage our community. This is, Indigenous people, Native people, even non-Native people that really are curious. We want to spread the word, and that's kind of what we're doing. So yeah, you can find all our tickets. We got a range of tickets. We got day passes. We got 3-day passes. We got VIP passes. That gets you into everything, exclusive signings, etc. We're going to be having some stuff with some movies coming up. So it's going to be really, I think it's going to be really keen, and there's not really a deadline. We'll still take tickets at the door as long as we don't sell out. So we hope people will sign up early and get your tickets. So that way you can make sure you get in your you get signed up early, so we don't keep you out in the cold.
Cool. We actually got a question here. Teresa wants to know anywhere close by that she can camp or bring her RV.
Yeah, there's a couple of places that I can think of, and I hadn't actually put that online, but Teresa, if you give me till tomorrow, we'll find another place. There's a couple of places sort of on the outer edges of town. I know there's I know there's like a KOA, but let me see if I can find something kind of local, and we'll point people in that direction as well.
Cool.
We'll put that on the website.
Awesome. Now, we talked a minute about some of you were talking about some of the people you've been following. If we're heading to want to make it in November, who are some of the Indigenous authors or books or stories we should be following and kind of brush up on our Indigenous comic books before the show?
Oh, well, definitely I always highlight Super Indian. It's the longest running comic at this point, by Arrogant Star. You can find that on, it's like superindian.com, I think is what it is, but you can find all of her work. She puts out a new comic. It's a web comic. She puts a new one up every Monday. She's super diligent about that. I would say that's one of the first ones you can grab. If you want to go back in time, you can get a copy of it. Get a hold of Tribal Force. John Proudstar was really sort of the originator. The first truly native-centric comic book came out in the mid-'90s. And we'll say like classic comic book style. Check out any of the sequential art, Marty Tubles. You can check out some of the older stuff. I'm trying to think that can get you brushed up on the native, sort of the indigenous side. Obviously, you can visit nativerealities.com. We got comic books up there for sale, native-centric comic books. We'll have a lot of stuff that for sale there at the event itself. You want to check into Marvel, check out the old X-Men. You want to look at Forge. You want to look at Warpath and Danny Moonstar. If you check out DC, DC's got a smattering of characters. Most recently, I think Man of Bats would be one. Not the best representation, but gives you something to play on. Justice League United, Jeff Lemire's work. I know I always get questions about Scalped. You can check out Jason Aaron. I'm always iffy about that simply because it's not something I can necessarily show my kiddos. It's a little bit more hard boiled, sort of in that I don't know. I want to say sort of the Breaking Bad kind of motif. And there's a little bit of there's some problems. Just simply because Jeff Lemire is not native, and so some of the nuanced stuff that we would be able to have as native writers moving in there. Sci-fi folks, I would definitely check out Grace Dillon. I think it's Walking the Clouds. It's a sci-fi anthology that she edited. I would go check out Elizabeth Laponce's work with Indigenous Games. Check out Never Alone. That's the Cook Inlet folks. We're going to have Ishmael Hope in the house. He's one of the guys that was featured on the video work with that. I check out Alan Turner's stuff, Erdigor. I think that's how I pronounce it correctly. It's the only native role-playing game that's out there, so any of our role players that are in the house. It's really great game mechanics built on Fate Core. It's pretty awesome. Trying to think, let's see what else. Fantasy, Daniel Heath Justice. Take a look at his stuff. Stephen Graham Jones just put out Mongrels, so it's all native werewolves. Drew Hayden Taylor's got a sci-fi anthology coming out of sci-fi short stories coming out right now. That's just off the top of my head. What we're finding with this con is that so much of there's so many people doing this kind of work, but we're just not all connected about it. And I think that's been so like awesome for me to just be able to be like, to for you and for the audience and for anybody that I meet, they're like, what do you suggest I read? I'm like, now I have a list of 20, 25, 30, 40 things that, 6 months ago, a year ago, I knew a good chunk of folks, but definitely not as many as are coming out and saying like, hey, we beat this, and hey, this is, I'm a cosplayer, and hey, I had somebody from Australia contact me and just saying, hey, we cosplay over here in Australia. We're Aboriginal folks. We wish we could make and they gave me sort of the lowdown on Aboriginal cosplayers. There's 3 or 4 of us. We all meet at the cons. And I'm just like, it's just the fact that there are so many of us that are doing this as Native and Indigenous people, but we don't get the opportunity to connect. And so that's why this has just been so amazing. And that's what I'd say are the primers. Get to reading. You got 3 months. It's a big stack of stuff.
Yeah. And if you have any of that on your website or anywhere, let me know. I'll put that in the show notes, and we'll direct people to some of that stuff. Because we're getting a lot of people just saying that they had no idea all this was out here. And we've got some other people that are fans of X-Men and Lord of the Rings, so that's good. Well, this is really awesome. I'm really excited to be able to share this with the audience out there. I hope everybody will try to attend November in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And I'll show the website again here so everybody can see the address. Make sure you head out there now. Tickets are on sale November 18th through the 20th in Albuquerque, New Mexico, Indigenous Comic Con. This is going to be a great weekend. Lee, thanks so much again for being on the show. We really appreciate it, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time, and everybody get your Indigenerd on and join us in Albuquerque. So
cool. Thanks so much, man, and you take care. Have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for staying with us and watching this evening. I appreciate all the comments. Remember that tonight we are giving away a prize. We've got the Pow Wow Life Lanyards. Everybody likes to wear their lanyards at the powwows, or I know lots of people have to wear them at work or school. We're going to give 2 of those away, so head to the address, www.PowWows.com/PowWowLife9. Enter to win. All you have to do is fill out the form on there and tell us who your favorite superhero is. You heard some of theirs, Lee's tonight, and I know some people were posting the comments of whose theirs are. So let me know who's your favorite superhero. And maybe after November, when you visit Albuquerque, New Mexico, you'll have a new superhero. But everybody, we thank you for tuning in. Remember to head on over to PowWows.com to check out all that's going on. If you're looking for a powwow close to you, there's one in every state, and we have a listing at www.PowWows.com/calendar. Again, my name is Paul Gowder. I'm your host here from PowWows.com. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and we will see you down the trail. Thanks, everybody.